Leo tuko na mgeni nasemanga Waswahili wanasema mgeni bab kubwa, sisi tunaita kwa Kiingereza big shot, ambaye atatuambia mambo ya siasa inakuaje, ili help us unlock the politics as it is in this country. In Kenya inamaanisha kwamba every day that goes things get even more complicated. When you think it should get simpler, it gets worse. Titus Mushemi anasema yuko Konza City. Asante sana. Tuko na mgeni wetu Professor Edward Kisiangani. Atatuambia ni mwalimu wa falsafa ya politics ama kisiasa. Atatuambia ni nini inaendelea Kenya hii. Juzi nimeona gazeti ya Standard imetuletea lineup ya 2020. Atatuambia who is the bit. Unajua zile teams zinatengeneza jana Liverpool na Man U. Nasikia mlinyoroshana watu wa Man U leo mko na kiburi. Atatuambia pia kwa ulingo wa kisiasa nani ni Man U gani ni Liverpool. Karibu sana Daktari Kisiangani. Good to see you.
Yes, thanks a lot.
Welcome to the tackle.
Yes.
Hapa ndio tunapanganga kazi pole pole.
Wewe ni Man U.
Mimi nilisema sitaki stress ya football. Mimi siwezi kwanza usingize kwa
mimi ni Chelsea.
Sasa yes. Kwa sababu ya ngozi nikosa kulala.
The league has noticed because Chelsea is not winning. Yes.
So you are blue.
Yeah, I'm blue. And this room is blue.
Yes, it's blue somehow, you know, coincidentally.
Yeah.
Is it out of coincidence? It's blue. So I think you're home now.
It is not good. It's good. It is not red.
Yeah, some shades of red. Good to see you.
Thanks a lot.
So watu wa Man U unawaambia aje? Leo maamuka na kiburi.
Waje maringo. Wana maringo sana. Hata hawachezi poa. Lakini wana maringo sana. Wanahitaji discipline.
Discipline.
Jana walifunga goli ya hiyo ya Rashford ilikuwa offside. Yeah.
So walikulia ball ya offside ndio ambao walitupigia kifua leo.
Yes, walikulia offside.
Tunasema sasa
huwa anabebwa.
Hata nyinyi Chelsea mwenye pia mko na nafikia mnakwanga civilized kidogo, lakini kiburi iko pia kidogo.
Hapana, tunataka kufuta kazi Lambert. Hajui. Alikuwa mchezaji mzuri lakini boli hajui kucoach. Sasa tutatafuta coach mwingine na tutadiscipline watu huko.
Yeah, lakini wa Kenya mnapenda football sana zaidi, lakini Kenya hii football yenyewe it's on its knees. What happens with local football?
Uongozi mbaya. Kuna siasa nyingi sana katika michezo yote, basketball, rugby. Uongozi ni mbaya sana. Nadhani uongozi ambao ni mbaya kutoka wa wanasiasa wakubwa huo wa siasa umeathiri sana mchezo pia.
So mpaka yani kuna siasa mpaka kwa football.
Kwa football kuna kucheza, kuna youth programs mzuri. Hatuna mpango, pesa ni kukulwa tu. Ni kama za Kemsa. Tunakulwa tu. Alafu inaisha hivi.
Scandal kila mahali. There's a scandal all over.
Yes.
Very good to see you. Tunaingia kwa ulingo wa kisiasa. Tuambie pia mchezo ni vipi pale.
There before a lot of security people have been killed in that place. Citizens have been killed. But you know, that valley has a lot of resources. It has water almost throughout the year. And the ecosystem there is very attractive. So I think, but we need to take a decision. Why would people kill each other? Even if there are resources, surely we can sit down and agree on how to use those resources. It's primitive for people to wake up with guns and kill each other. Somebody must be doing this kind of thing. And how long can the state take to fix the problem? The state is supposed to help us to fix our security. You know, it is a right. The Constitution says the state must protect citizens. So I don't feel good when I see that our security people are being murdered, citizens are being murdered, and the state keeps promising hard action. You hear, Gerard wanasema watapiga watu, lakini hawa watu watapigwa lini? Miaka nyingi. So Kapedo is a tragedy in our midst. It shouldn't be condoned, and I think the country must all cry, ask the state to fix the problem. And it shouldn't go on.
So you believe the problem there is as a resource conflict? Because there are people who have argued that it's also part of political incitement by the local leaders. So you somehow believe that the problem that we have in Kapedo is more of a resource conflict than political?
Even the political part of it is related to resources. So if you can have your supporters access resources and supporters of your opponents don't access the same resources, that is the point. You know, politicians don't go where there are no resources. These guys, even when they are asleep, wananusa kama kuna kitu kizuri. So they are always looking for where are the resources. This water. If Gerard, you're my supporter, and I ask you, you see, access resources in Kapedo, but the supporters of my opponents are locked out. there will be conflict. So first of all, we must deal with the resource issue in Kapedo, and then see why the political class, political combatants are using the resource problem there to fuel conflict. And then we shall deal with the problem. So it's not good. It's a bad thing. It's a tragedy. Everybody must come out and cry over Kapedo.
Yeah. And it is fair to say that actually these are things that are happening in the 21st century in a nation that's now maybe trying to move away. That is too archaic and too primitive. But again, I argue, sir, and I could be wrong.
Yes.
Why is it that we have all these problems only in places where we have an abundance of poor people, where resources are strained, where there's no investment in schools, there's no investment in public resources? If we could civilize this place, do you think we'd still be fighting over valleys and cows?
I think that you have exactly stated the problem. You have a lot of resources, but these resources don't create an atmosphere that people can exploit their talents and convert themselves into a modern state. So who benefits from these resources and for what reasons? So I think one of the things that the state should do is to open up that area to modern communication, roads, provision of clean water for everybody in that region, build schools, but also secure all these establishments so that our people are safe. So the state must provide security, but must also guide the area on how to use those resources. I think there are so many parts of this country which have been forgotten, they have been ignored, nobody cares about them. And there is a direct connection between areas which have been ignored and overlooked by the state and insecurity. But the areas which have been opened up, they're different. So I think you are right. Kapedo needs to be opened up to modern communication. It needs to be opened up, open good roads, good colleges, and our children should not be going to look after cattle. They must go to school. But if the option is only to look after cattle or raid their neighbors in order to benefit certain things, by the way, Gerard, do you know something? There is this interesting thing. At one time when there was an outbreak, the last time we had a confrontation in Kapedo, that region, we were told that there are some members of the political class could be using these guys who are not going to school, the young morons, to raid the neighborhoods, get cattle, and some of that cattle at one time we were told would find its way on our tables in Nairobi. Yeah. So who is benefiting this? And is it possible that the state does not know who is doing this? I think it's important to call out those who are promoting conflict in Kapedo, and it's not enough for the authorities to keep promising action. We have the NIS, the National Intelligence Service, we have the police, we have the military. I don't think the state has no capacity to identify the cause of the conflict.
So you feel they have not really paid attention, but they know where the problem is?
I think, who else can know the problem apart from the state? That is the duty of the state to know.
The government.
The government must know where the problem is, and it should be fixed very quickly, once and for all. Our people cannot live in fear like that, and then we keep rejoicing. One part of Kenya which is bleeding, it means that the entire country is bleeding. We need to fix it.
All right. Now, let's go to the schools, because it looks like we're also breeding some bandits back in school. Yesterday, Jesamis Boys High School was closed indefinitely after students went on a rampage. Wameenda wamebomoa shule, wamebomoa maofisi. Chanzo sijui ni nini. Nimeona pia I think Kimilili Secondary, there's also a problem there. These guys just opened school the other day.
Yes,
they are already running on a rampage.
Yes.
What do you think is going on in our schools?
I don't think it's probably the systemic failure. Maybe the kids have certain grievances which nobody is listening to. Maybe people could be using the kids to do certain things. By the way, Chesam's High School was an elite school. The first thing you must ask, the frustrations that people have around here, is why has this school come down to the lowest level? By the way, I'm an alumnus of Chesam's High School.
Oh, interesting.
I went to school there.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys rampaging like that in your time?
If we rampage it like that, we would not have professors from Chesamis. We would not have Smokini Wanjala, the judge from Chesamis. He was my classmate in Chesamis. We would not have Ken Lusaka, the speaker. But the school has deteriorated. That's a fact. It has deteriorated in terms of academic standards, in terms of facilities. I think the easiest way is to blame students. But we need also, as we blame students, nobody can condone the destruction of property, Gerard. But also the management, the board of management of the school, they must come down and fix the problem of the school. Is it the democracy? Is it the facilities in the school? Is it interference from outside? They must answer to the public. That's a public school. We don't know. We heard about it. It's a tragedy that property was destroyed and some students were injured. Security officers could have been injured also. It is unacceptable.
So tuwanyoroshe kiboko ama rifanye counseling?
Hawa watoto kurudisha kiboko hakusaidii. Kwanza wazazi wanapamba watoto sana. Wanaona kama watoto ni maandazi ya kukula. Wanashika watoto hivi. At least kofi moja inasaidia. Hawa watoto wasije wakichoma shule alafu wanakuja nyumbani mnawapatia chapati.
Kofi moja ama 2?
3. Wewe Gerard, mtoto anachoma shule kama cha service, alafu anakuja nyumbani wewe unamwambia enda bathroom uoke maji ya moto. Is that what you want? No, we should tell them to style up, because whatever the grievances the students have can't justify the destruction of property.
We must discipline them.
The kids must be disciplined. Maybe they are taken to committee for a few days and they given some hard labor for 5 days. These kids must not do that. But also parents, adults, teachers, we have a duty to identify the problem. Teachers are trained to know where the problems come from. It could be guiding and counseling. It could be frustrations, but how do we manage stress? How do we manage frustrations among kids? This is a very critical thing. We had the reason the kids actually, that's what we are hearing, but that is the tip of the iceberg. That probably the kids were unhappy because the entertainment period had been moved from evening to 10 o'clock. Then we were told probably that is the reason why. So they didn't want to start entertainment when it is daytime. That is frivolous. I think there must be serious problems.
Lakini watu wanataka kusoma wanaenda dance. Do they go to school to read or they go to entertain themselves?
The kids must dance. First of all, we danced. Are we useless? We danced. We held girls. Girls held us. But we organized. Actually, we were dancing during the day, and it was good. But then you shouldn't ban the dancing. These kids will not even know how to court girls. They will not know how to look after husbands and wives, because they are used to. They are being told a girl is mysterious, a boy is mysterious. Dancing is okay, but these kids should
not cause chaos.
No, they should not. They should not destroy property.
All right. Let's not even, before we even leave Western region, let's talk about the politics in Western region. There is something we call the elusive Luhya unity. I mean, yes. You guys have been trying to unify for the longest time ever, for centuries and centuries of time. You've always been talking about Luhya unity. That seems so elusive. Every time we think we're going to achieve a Luhya unity, there seems to be another faction that comes up. Is it a democracy, or is it just that you guys can never be together? We're even seeing at this point, for the longest time, Raila or Mudavadi was thinking about taking a shot at the presidency, and he has just remained as a threat, like ila kutisha kwamba ndaomba hii kitu mwisho anakula kona. Raila has continued to have a lot of dominance in Western Kenya, surprisingly, that Luhya somehow find some level of convergence where Raila Odinga is. What is it with Luhya politics, and what is the reason that you guys never sit in one table?
Gerard, you missed the point.
What's the point?
This is our republic. When you tell me Luhya unity, unite against who? You want us to unite against Kalenjins? You want us to unite against Kikuyu? A unity which brings together community against other communities. Our unity should be the republic's unity. It's a Kenyan unity. We should unite about interests, not about communities. In fact, it makes me sick. By the way, sometimes I feel news-settled when I hear about that. I feel like vomiting. I won't vomit in this studio, but I'll tell you something. We cannot unite against our citizens, our other citizens. We unite around the fight against poverty. We want to unite against hopelessness. We want to unite about creating wealth. About education. These are the issues. But now, when people talk about uniting, they say we want to have our own. recently some politicians were pursuing that agenda that now it's a time for member from the community to become president. I don't think we want to organize our politics around ethnicity. You could have a fool. I'm not saying about that anybody is a fool there, but I'm saying you could have your own member of the community who is really foolish and cannot become a president. If you must choose somebody from your community, they must have the qualities of uniting the whole country, not the community. So this elusive Luhya unity is a hoax. It doesn't exist.
So what do they keep us?
We don't need it. Let me tell you, Gerard, we don't need this unity. If Musalia Mudavadi wants to become president, he should stop staying at Mululu and saying, I want to be endorsed. I am a Luhya leader. So what? You must know there is Vanga, there is Marsabit, there is Garissa. Let me give you an example. You come from the Kalenjin community.
Yeah, sure.
We are not saying that's wrong. We celebrate it. But the Republic of Kenya is the most important thing in this country. We are not going to... You know what? You have a member of the Kalenjin community who wants to be president. Deputy President William Ruto. William Ruto doesn't stay in Tarbo to be endorsed. He is looking for votes in Vanga. He's looking for votes in Garissa. Every other weekend, William Ruto is meeting people across the Republic because he knows the Kalenjin vote is nothing. And he's not asking for the Kalenjin community to unite against the Kikuyu. Instead, he's bringing the Kikuyu and the Kalenjin together, the Luhya and the Kalenjin together. So these guys who talk about Luhya unity, quote and quote, are useless.
So the problem is that Mudavadi never leaves. You said it's Mululu
home. Have you ever heard him? How often do you even see him in Nairobi doing things? Let me ask you, Gerard. It's not that I'm disrespectful for the guy. The guy went to school. He has a university degree. But I'm asking you, if today William Ruto sat at home at Sugoi, then called all Kalenjins, let us unite. What will happen? So that William Ruto knows very well, you can't be the president of Kenya just by uniting the community. You become the president of Kenya by uniting the whole republic. President Uhuru Kenyatta became president not because he's Kikuyu. He became president because he walked around the country asking for votes. By the way, where I come from in Bungoma, we voted for Kenyatta. We also voted for Kibaki. Is that wrong?
No, it's not wrong.
So you want us to vote for a Luhya? So you vote for a Kalenjin? Nonsense. We can't have that kind of thing, Gerard. Let's tell you the truth. We want somebody who unites the country. So the Luhya unity you have talked about
is you guys don't want it. It's unnecessary.
For what?
All right. So even let's talk about, there's a statement you made that one.
We want a president for Kenya. I don't want to dismiss Musalia. I don't dismiss even Wetangula. But if they want to rule this country, they must present themselves as national leaders, not as Luhya leaders. And then we're okay.
So you mentioned those actually, there's a new entrant, that is the COG chair, who was also joined in the ring. The three guys, how did you describe them? Let's start from Mudavadi, Wetangula, and now Paranya was coming.
They have always missed the point. These are my brothers. But sometimes I think I have brothers who are funny. How they're good. They have good brains, but their focus on politics is shocking. They think first somebody can endorse them.
They're always waiting for endorsements.
You see, if a girl wants you, she must move near you and make some gestures that will know she's interested. But if also you want a girl, you can't get a wife by just sitting in a sitting room and waiting to be endorsed for the girl. You will see her passing by another.
Waiting for a mother to endorse, you.
You will not get it. So these three guys, even there is another one, the fourth one. There is even Mukisa Kitui. They have joined. But you know what? They need to persuade the entire country, whichever way they want. Their presidential ambitions are valid. But how often do they get out? Who knows them in Masai Land? Who knows them in Vanga? Who knows them in Marsabit? who knows them in Turkana. That is where they should go, because alone, even if everybody votes to the last person in Luhya land, nobody will become president. So, and again, because of that naive, constricted space that they have, many people walk in, and that's why Raila Odinga was able to walk in and get many votes, because the general populace among the Luhya do not think that you become president using the Luhya as a stepping stone. You must become the president of the entire republic. And so that's why Raila would come in, take away those votes, or use them to win the to get votes. Now they must change tact.
Bure, they'll still remain wakizunguka Nairobi, umesema na Mulalo.
Why are you not asking me? That what could be going to Ruto, by the way.
The Luhya vote.
Yeah, it's the guy is not talking about Luhya unity. He's talking about national unity, and many people, especially the voters, want a national president. So they might give it to Ruto. They have been giving it to Raila, but I think they might now give it to Ruto.
That is what the chances look like.
They look like that. I could be wrong. I'm not a soothsayer. I've done some science. I've done some science. When you check, ground in tofauti.
Vitu kwa ground mbaya.
Vitu kwa ground mbaya. Hapo ni Ruto.
Alright. Nimona now, even on the same as you talk about the alignments, there seems to be a new alignment. And the most surprising thing is, they're the same guys now in different times are still together. I've looked at the elements that I saw the standard newspaper that is on Sunday, and it was giving us some alignments, political alignments to coalition structure for 2022 poll as on the headlines. And on one hand, we have the usual guys, Raila Odinga, flanked by Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula. I'm also seeing Kalonzo, Joe, and Gideon Moi. There's one thing, these other guys on the other side, William Ruto, there's Kiunjuri, there's Adan Duale, there is, I'm seeing Munyes, I think, no, is it Munyes? And then there is, no, it is not Munyes. And then there is Isaac Ruta, and there is Mudama. On the other hand, there's something that's quite surprising. Is there a kind of a revival of the NASA coalition on the other end? And the question is, NASA coalition has collapsed almost twice. These guys have been together for 3 times. They've been running 3 times as a group. They are now going in for the 4th time. The question is, what is it that keeps them clamped up together?
These formations have only 2 platforms. Whichever way you look at him, there is a formation of losers and a formation of winners. So what unites some of these people in some camp is that they're used to losing. When you see formation of Kalonzo, Musalia, this is a formation of losers. They like losing. So when the elections are coming, they get into a suicidal political arrangement that is suicidal. So they identify with the likes of political friends that believe in losing. Then there are other groups that are focusing on power, and they know how to get power. So these groups will keep forming and forming, but Gerard, finally you'll get the winning team. Those who know what power is and how winning is will find themselves in the same camp. But those who like losing will find themselves on the one side, but they will fight over losing. If you look at NASA group, the coalition, what were they fighting for in 2018? They were fighting about loss. Moses Weta, Musalia, Raila. Then Raila saying, these guys have come to fail to swear me up, to join me in swearing me as a people's president. What were they fighting over? Loss. How to own the loss. But then one of them escaped into Jubilee and left the others. But when he went to Jubilee, he thought he will win now. He's being pulled back to the loss side. They are going to lose again. So you have Raila Odinga. Now he's complaining about Jubilee. What business is he doing in Jubilee? So these formations you are seeing are defined by those 2 major platforms. There is the platform for winning and the platform for losing. Now currently, the platform, look, if Ruto had not escaped from this team in 2007, he would not be a deputy president. Let me tell you, Ruto realized that he's going to lose, and he stopped working with the losers. Then he joined the winner, the winning group. Uhuru knew how to win power. So Ruto joined Uhuru in 2013 and left losers. Then in 2017, again, Ruto operated with Uhuru. They won. Now, this group keeps on going back to each other. They cheat each other. They tell each other lies. One manipulates them. I think the super manipulator there is Raila Odinga. He knows how to manipulate the rest. The rest of the pack. Manipulate them towards laws.
Is it a charm?
It's not even a witchcraft. I don't know how to describe it. It is
because these are the guys who are crying the other day. They were saying we've been betrayed. Raila Odinga ametuacha akaenda kakula handshake and they're the same guys again who are clamping back.
They are narrow.
And I'm trying to wonder what is the new inspiration? What is about to change?
They are trying to imagine they will beat Ruto. The connecting point there, they are arranging how to lose to Ruto. You know, Gerard, I'm telling you the truth. It's not about emotions. This is the truth. If you look at William Ruto today, who probably is inspiring them to create these camps, William Ruto in 2017. Let's start with Raila Odinga before we get to William Ruto. In 2017, in 2007, Raila Odinga had the Rift Valley vote. It was his. But you know what? He was manipulated through Mau to hit at his support base. He lost it. By 2013, he didn't have that support base. In 2017, as people are saying, he was in charge of Western. But when he got the handshake, he did a few things that made him lose Western. How did he lose? Because of the regional nature of our politics. Weta, who was his partner, was removed from Senate as minority leader, and the thing went to the neighbor, Orengo. The local politics, mambo kwa ground, said, anachukua kiti chetu anapeleka kwa Orengo. Then of course, there was the issue of Echesa. Echesa loses the ministerial post, alafu unajua hiyo kiti ilichezewa ikaenda kwa Makoha. So, like the Mau, he was lured into a trap to lose Western. He was lured. Now, he has been lured in many places to lose regions. And these regions, if you tell him, he will not accept it. So, that's why I'm saying this team is a team of losers. They like losing. And they enjoy losing. They have perfected losing to a fine art. So, now, we are having 2021, 2022. Their brother, William Ruto, is now organizing himself. He has now this as Raila loses Western, Ruto takes over. As Raila loses the coast, Ruto takes over. As Raila loses the Rift Valley, Ruto is the one who's inheriting that. Now, there was this handshake, Gerard. You know that the handshake was simply to promise that Mount Kenya will be given
to Baba.
Imekuwa ngumu. Ama mimi ndiye naona.
And I keep wondering, daktari.
Imekuwa ngumu. Sasa hiyo vote ni ya Ruto. Sasa hiyo vitu wewe hizi kura hata kama mkihesabu na deep state, hizi kura zitaenda wapi? Kwani deep state itachukua tu hizi kura ipatie mtu ambaye hajapita? Unajua hii mtu atashitaki deep state yake mwenyewe. Somebody will take to the deep state, his own deep state to court. You remember how Trump did it?
Yeah.
So where these votes seem to be votes for William Ruto. So, and you know, it's not me who is giving these votes to Ruto. I'm stating the truth. So where will they get the votes?
That is science. And I keep wondering about the handshake. And with the latest development that is happening on the political scene, the first thing is about, let's look at the handshake, for instance.
Yes.
And I think when you look at the beneficiaries of the handshake, the president, first of all, does not have any interest in the handshake because he's an outgoing president. I mean, there's no political gains that much because he can choose to go quiet and go on. The person who wants the president is Raila Odinga, there's William Ruto, there's these other guys, Kena Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi. When you look at the handshake, it was first of all designed, or it felt to be designed to give Raila Odinga an head start. It was 2022. But it looks like it's clawing back on him. Let's look at the burden of incumbency. He's now the one who's being blamed for the failures of a government that he joined on its last term. Let's look at Central Kenya, for instance. People like Waiguru, they're the ones who are shaking his hand in Capitol Hill. Today they're making a turn.
Yeah.
And I keep wondering, Daktari, because we are a political scientist.
Yes.
Do you feel this was scripted from the word go? Like it was a script, let's go this way, then when he gets somewhere, we start making a turn. Look at Kangata. Kangata made a 360 the other day. unturned. You're also looking at Waiguru. Waiguru is almost getting out of that fold or coming on this other hand. The question is, do you think this was a script? The handshake was a script in itself to tame Raila Odinga towards 2022. I could be wrong, but that's the observation that I've been trying to see of late.
Let me tell you, Gerard. In politics, if you want to participate in politics, you must either be Machiavellian or you must know something about Machiavelli, the prince, the 16th century political theorist. It is the art of deception. It's about interests. So if you are available to be deceived, so be it. Raila is always available to be deceived. It is very easy. You know, if there's somebody willing to be deceived, why would you not deceive him? Let me give you an example. Suppose it was Ruto who is pursuing this handshake or probably the BBI and giving the bad news. Ruto would not win the election in 2022. So, it's true, there can't be a plot. If politics is about interest, it was in the interest of Uhuru Kenyatta to make sure that after the 2017 elections, his government is stable and it is peaceful. And he has achieved that. And if achieving that meant deceiving Raila, that was good. Because the ends justify what? The means. But if Raila was available to be deceived, why are you blaming Uhuru? You wanted Uhuru to avoid doing things that can stabilize his government. He did it. Now, secondly, because politics is about interests, Gerard, you have Waiguru, you have Kangata. What's their interest? It can't be their interest to die for Raila and lose elections in Mount Kenya. That is madness. You think Kangata is a lawyer? He's not a madman. Waiguru is an intelligent lady. She has been our cabinet secretary. She's not mad. She cannot be so suicidal to die for Raila and lose Mount Kenya. So interests have changed. And if interests have changed, don't talk about betrayal. That is the sweetness of politics. So nobody should blame Uhuru. Nobody should blame Kamata. They have a right to change their mind. Even you have a right to change your mind. Maybe you could invite me to this studio, but in the morning you change your mind. What's wrong with that? It is in the constitution. You have freedom to choose, to hold an opinion, to change. So therefore these guys are changing because the ground, ground so the ground is different. The ground doesn't think that a ticket which involves handshake manenos can make sense in Mount Kenya. So therefore they have changed, they are moving out, and nobody should cry. You know what? Raila Odinga, because of this deception, he has wasted a lot of time doing nothing. You know? If you waste a lot of time being deceived, you pay the price. So don't blame anybody people are always available to be deceived. Even when you want to be conned, a guy can call you on the streets of Nairobi and tell you, you know what, we can make, how much money do you have in the pocket? And then you say, I have 500 shillings. Then you say, I can convert it to 5,000. Then take you in a corner and do that. And then by the time you realize you have lost the 500 shillings. So if you are available to be deceived, why would you deceive? Yes, and the politics is the art of...
It's a game of deception.
It is a game of deception. It's about self-glorification. 17 required that he talks to Raila, and he has succeeded. The interest of Kinakangata and the company was that to support the handshake up to a certain point as it serves their interests. But now they know that the big trophy is 2022. What is their interest? To lose the elections? No. They can't join losers. They want to win elections. And to win elections, they have asked the people on the ground, they realize coming in with a ticket of handshake, BBI, is not making sense. People have their own calculation. And maybe you will ask me later why the people don't want BBI. And then I will tell you, the ground has told them, you know, this thing is not good.
So the issue is one of that, as you're talking about in Central Kenya. And there are two phases into it. And the first one is, you mentioned about the ground, that maybe the ground is demanding that, you know, you sing a certain tune. That's what Kangata quoted actually. He said, I've been on the ground, watu ground wanasema hivi.
Yes.
That is number one. The second one is what you mentioned about deception. Could it have been that Raila Odinga being brought in on a handshake was to, you know, was a script to tame him for that time, and as we get towards 2022 they drop him like an old potato? Which of the options do you think is very real? Could Uhuru Kenyatta also be part of this scheme? Like, he said, okay, guys, come. There's this guy who was made it almost impossible to govern. Let's fix him for now. as we get to a certain point, we start disintegrating. Do you think it's part of the scheme? I've always asked, as an observer, I've always asked because, and the question is, Raila Odinga has taken Uhuru Kenyatta to Kisumu several times. The other day, they're also launching projects in Kisumu. I've never seen President Uhuru Kenyatta taking Raila to Central Kenya, or Kiambu for that matter. Do you think there's a scheme of things? There's a scheme of deception in this game of the handshake?
How do you want me to emphasize that? I've told you, Gerard, that it was in the interest of Uhuru Kenyatta to stabilize his government after 2017. Every politician would do that. Would you blame him? The ends justify the means. The end goal was to stabilize his government. The means can be anything, including deception. And if he has used deception to get Raila on his side and stabilize his government, Uhuru becomes a political genius. And as a political genius, why would you blame him there? So it's not enough to just say, do you think Uhuru is part of it? Uhuru is the main player in this. He is the main player. He had to stabilize his government, and he has stabilized his government. It's coming to the last year, and it is fine with that. But you cannot do that. You can't have your cake
and eat it.
Eat it. So you see what Uhuru Kenyatta wanted is stability. The reason why he has not taken Raila to Mount Kenya, ground in Mbaya. The ground is not good. But you know what? In terms of optics, if Uhuru appears in Nyanza, it shows appreciation of Raila and maybe support. But Uhuru cannot, even if he takes Raila to Mount Kenya, Uhuru is not seeking election in 2022. So it's of no value. The main objective of our president is to stabilize his government and make sure it's operating peacefully, and nobody is interfering with us. Nobody's putting it under undue pressure. If I was in Raila's camp and I was able to advise him, I know I don't qualify even to be in his camp. I don't even qualify to be in his compound. But I'm just saying this. If I were to go there, I would have told him, please watch out this. He has very intelligent people around him. I see them. I respect them. But I wonder what they tell him. Or probably they tell him and he doesn't understand. From day one, the handshake was supposed to fail. Why was it supposed to fail? You know, it was crafted, its skeleton was assembled in a way that will irritate the public. And when it irritates the public, Uhuru loses nothing because he was not going to seek re-election. But this other guy who would still go to the people has a lot of questions to ask. Where did you involve the people? Who asked for constitutional change? Why are you forcing these things on us? Even when you ask the chiefs and the provincial administration to organize signature collection, even when you argue that there will be no change in full stop, you irritate people. And that irritation has helped to alienate people from Raila Odinga. But Uhuru doesn't need to explain because he's doing his term too. Sasa mutadu, you do nothing. But Raila must explain to us what happened. And you can see he's walking around trying to explain, but it doesn't work. Uhuru is not explaining much. He comes once in a while. But because Raila thinks he can run for elections in 2022, he's the one explaining. Now, they did this and sidelined his brother. When we finally reach 2022, the chief campaigners of William Ruto will be Uhuru and Raila. I am telling you this, Gerard. You know what? I don't know whether William Ruto would agree with me. But he's lucky. He's a lucky man. This man is lucky. He has two main campaigners, chief campaigners. The campaign chief, Raila Odinga and Uhuru. Everything they have done has favored Ruto. Suppose Ruto was in government. So that's where even the deception is. The guy is lucky. You know, in politics, you also need some luck. William Ruto is lucky. To get two big people campaigning for him without him asking for that.
Is that let's talk about the people. There's something you mentioned about the people. Raila Odinga has for the longest time come out as a mobilizer of the people. Yes. He has always had a constituency that's so solid. Yes. And he's a constituency that always feels oppressed for the longest time.
Yes.
He rallies himself ahead of people who feel oppressed by government.
Yes.
For the longest time, that's what he thrives in. whenever he's out of government, he mobilizes people who are irritated, constituency, a kind of a constituency that feel like they've been betrayed by government. But it looks like since Raila got into handshake, and you mentioned the people, it seems like he keeps losing that constituency, and the person who is speaking in that constituency seems to be William Ruto. And there's a narrative that's coming up right now is that for the longest time, as well as for the first time of the Jubilee, the person who kept putting the government on check and telling them you need to sort out the issues of the poor people has been Raila Odinga. And that's what really inspired the people to move up behind him. The person who is taking that narrative now is William Ruto. And the thing is, the other day I also seen, looked like Raila has realized that he is losing to his constituency. And he's coming to fight back, blaming Uhuru Kenyatta for the failures in government. Is it too late for him to reclaim this constituency? Is it gone with the wind?